Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, just hello, welcome. I wanted to share some really fun fall recipes with you guys that we have been enjoying so much already in the fall season, and I thought it would just be fun to do a little bit of a different video. A lot of these recipes are coffee, but however, there is one kombucha recipe that we have been loving and changing all the flavors, and it's just been so fun. So we love our coffee here if you're new. I love to drink espresso, but you do not have to have an espresso machine if you want to do any of these recipes. You could use regular coffee. And a lot of these drinks you can also have cold. So we're gonna start with making our own brown sugar. I have been loving to make my own brown sugar lately. When I was filming this video, I had store-bought sugar, brown sugar, and it was just terrible. You guys will see later, it's like all like rocked up and like clumpy. It's just not good quality, but making my own brown sugar, which I've been really into lately, has been a whole game changer in baking as well as making drinks. So I highly recommend this. It's so easy. All you do is you add about 1/4, maybe 1/3 cup of molasses to raw organic cane sugar and mix it up, and there you go. You have brown sugar. It is so soft, so elegant, so wonderfully delicious that I can't even tell you just on camera. Like, it's amazing. I highly recommend doing this. It's so easy. And then I just put it in a jar, and yes, I spill all the time. That just happens. You will see a lot in this video. I'm a spiller, okay? I can't help it. I spill a lot. But I just jar it up and then I use it when I'm ready. It's so easy to do, and I just really recommend to make your own. It's a game changer. Never will go back to store-bought again, okay? Okay, so for our first recipe, it is called apple pie. At least that's what I call it. I made a lot of these recipes up, but I've been loving testing recipes. It's been so fun. So I'm calling this one apple pie, and it is a latte drink. But first we need to make the syrup. So I'm cutting up apples. I'm cutting up some pink lady apples. You can use any kind of apples. Here is the store-bought sugar. You see how it's like clumpy and just no, but it still tasted really good. I still highly recommend to make your own. I swear it's just so much better. And now I'm just putting the apples, brown sugar into this cute little Dutch oven that I got from Target, and I'm sprinkling on some pumpkin pie spice. I get this one from Trader Joe's, and then some cinnamon, because you can't have apple pie anything without cinnamon, right? So I'm just adding that, and then a little pad of butter. So simple. And then now we're gonna move on to adding our water. You wanna add a good amount of water, less than sugar though. I'm gonna put all of the recipes down below in the description as well. Let's move over to the stove top. So you wanna put this on the stove and let it simmer. Just let your house fill with all the beautiful aromas of fall. My house smelled so good when making all of these syrups, and I just let it sit for about maybe even an hour. Just on low heat, just let it simmer, and all of the flavors from the apple will extract into the syrup, and you have a beautiful apple pie syrup. And then you just want to bottle it up and pour it in your coffee and add cream. But first, I actually poured it and strained it. You don't have to do this step, but I just don't want any weird textures in my syrup, so I strained it, but that's very optional. That is up to you. You see all the gook that's on the strainer, just to get that extra unwanted texture out. Then I bottle it, and it's good to go. And you can make several coffees with this syrup, along with all of the other coffee simple syrups we're gonna make, because there's a few. I think there's actually only one more, but they're so fun. And also you can pour it over ice and have an iced latte as well. And that's really good. So I've been doing that too. And it's just so yummy. Such a good way to celebrate fall is with your drinks. I have just been loving this. All right, so on to drink number 2. This one is really simple, and if you don't feel like doing anything on the stove top, this is really nice, and you can do it by hand too. So if you don't have a stand mixer, you could totally do it by hand. It just will take a little bit longer. It'll take you about like 10 minutes or so to beat it with a whisk to actually get heavy whipping cream, or you could just buy whipped cream and flavor it yourself, but I like to make my own. So all I'm doing is just adding the heavy whipping cream. This one is from Trader Joe's. I really like this one, into the stand mixer, and I'm gonna whip it for a good amount of time on high and just let it get to stiff peaks. You wanna make sure that you have stiff peaks so it can hold its shape and it's nice and creamy, just like this. And then I like to add a little bit of powdered confectionery sugar. It just gives it some nice sweetness because this one is unsweetened. And I just mix that in. Very simple, and you can control the sweetness this way so it's not too sweet, or maybe you want it very sweet. It's all up to you. I love that you can customize it. And next I'm just adding some pumpkin pie spice, and we're just giving this whipped cream a nice little fall flavor, and it's so simple. And then you can just drop it in your drink or however you want to drink it. You can have this over so many different desserts or on really anything that you want to for the fall season. And then when I was done whipping it up, I just added it to a mason jar, all of the leftovers, so I can have it all fall long. And then after I put it in the jar, I store it in the fridge. Now I'm just adding some brown sugar to my double shot espresso, and then I'm going to add my steamed milk and then just drop some lovely pumpkin pie spice whipping cream into my coffee, and it's just so delicious. Just a nice little floating whipped cream in your coffee. Who doesn't like whipped cream in their coffee? I guess some people, but I just find it so delightful, and it was just so good to kind of stir up in your coffee. And then I just garnish it with a little more pumpkin spice, and that was really good. And I've been having this coffee a lot lately as well. Okay, so on to our next drink. This is so simple as well. So everyone, you guys already know, is obsessed with, what is it? Pumpkin pie or pumpkin spice. Is it pumpkin spice? See, I don't even know because I don't really drink Starbucks anymore, but this is so good. So if you want to make your own pumpkin spice latte at home, then I really suggest this recipe. All you do is add pure cane sugar, pumpkin pie spice, pumpkin puree, and then water. So simple. And then we're just gonna put it on the stovetop, melt it all together. And also I wanted to give you guys a warning that remember you're working with sugar when you're making a simple sugar, and sugar gets really, really hot. So you wanna make sure that you're putting it on a medium heat, not too hot because it gets really hot. And before you handle it and try to bottle it or even put it in your coffee, make sure that it cools down first because it gets very hot and I don't want anyone to get hurt or get burned. So just keep that in mind. I did like to strain this one as well just to get any extra thickness out from the pumpkin puree because the flavor and everything's already infused. And yes, I had another little whoopsie spill again, but I wanted to keep all these in here to keep it really realistic as well as, pretty and aesthetic, but spills happen and I'm a spiller, okay? I spill. After I just clean that up, I also have to empty out the strainer. So I emptied the strainer. You could see all the gook and the grime. Don't worry, we didn't waste this syrup though. I just put it right back in, cleaned my board, and kept going because you don't want to waste any good, precious syrup. So that's what I did. Clean my board. Here we go. Round 2. Let's hope I don't spill this time. But yeah, it's very simple, and this one is so yummy as well. So if you want to make your own pumpkin spice latte at home, I highly suggest this syrup. I've already used this syrup and have had to make it 2 more times. So I recommend making bottles of this if you really enjoy the Starbucks one. I think this is a really good dupe, and you can control the sweetness, and it's just great. I love it. And so much cheaper to do it yourself than to go to Starbucks. But that's a whole other story. So yes. And I also did an iced version of this as well, and it's really, really good. So on my days where I don't feel like steaming milk, I just pour some raw milk in and ice cubes, add my pumpkin spice latte syrup, and add my shot, and it's just so good. Next up is a maple brown sugar latte. This one is very simple to make. All I do is make my latte like I normally would and get my shot all ready to go. And then I add brown sugar into the coffee once it's already made. And then really most of this recipe is in the milk. So you can either steam your milk or froth your milk, whatever you prefer. Warm it up on the stovetop. I add maple syrup and pumpkin pie spice, and that's really it. And then I just give it a good stir and then warm it up. It's so good. I absolutely love this one. This one is so warm and so cozy, and I've been enjoying this one honestly almost every day except for the days when I need to switch it up and I just really want to try one of the other ones that I've made. But this is one of my favorite ones I think that I've made. The other ones are really good too. I wouldn't put any recipes in here that I didn't love, but this one has been my go-to, is the maple brown sugar latte. The other ones are so good as well, but this one is just very easy. Okay, so on to a non-coffee drink. I am making kombucha. I have been really enjoying to make kombucha. If you don't know what it is just fermented black tea, and you can add whatever flavors you want to it, but it has great health benefits, great gut bacteria benefits. Now, it might be a little bit of a weird process. It's also a long process. It's not very hands-on, but there is a lot of waiting, just like anything when it comes to fermenting any kind of item. It takes a while. That's what creates the good bacteria and creates the fermentation. Takes time. All right, to start the kombucha, all I do is put about 9 tea bags in boiling hot water, and this one batch will make about a gallon or so of kombucha, but you also want to leave 2 cups of the kombucha for your next batch, so keep that in mind as well. And yeah, so I just do that and I let it sit for about maybe 10 to 30 minutes and just let it steep and get all of that flavor out of the tea bags. And you want to use black tea is the best tea to really start with kombucha. And now I'm just adding, after it has cooled down for a while, the black tea mixture into my 8 cups of water that is already in the jar, but you want to make sure it's warm, not hot. Then I add about a cup of sugar, let that mix, get all incorporated. And now it's time to add the live culture, which is the SCOBY. The SCOBY is what gives it fermentation and makes all the bubbles and makes the actual kombucha. Every time you make kombucha, you should grow another layer of SCOBY. I know it sounds weird, the thing looks gross, but it makes a really good drink and has good health benefits. It's basically like a natural soda. After you add the SCOBY in, then you want to add the starter and then cover it up and let it sit for about a week and then taste it. And if it's at the right flavor that you like, then we move on to a second fermentation. And you don't have to do this step. You could just drink it unflavored if you want to. But I like to do the second fermentation and add another flavor. Even though the flavor is good by itself, why not add a little extra something? So I just pour my kombucha more than halfway, and then I'm adding apple juice. I like to use organic apple juice, like the raw organic apple juice. because you want it to still be healthy and have good health benefits. So that's what I do. And then I just cut up some strawberries and put that in as well. We have done a whole bunch of different flavors. We've done just apple. We have done strawberry and apple. We've done raspberry and apple. We've done the apple cider apple juice, and that's been really good too. You don't have to add fresh fruit, but it really gives it an extra flavor as well as extra color, and it's just so good and gives it really good flavor when you add fresh fruit. So we've been adding fresh fruit, and then we usually just don't eat the fruit. We just drink the kombucha and pour it over ice, and it's just so good. I have been loving kombucha so much, and I've been making a new batch every week for the past like month and a half, maybe even 2 months now. It's so good. A really good anytime drink. Also, after you put it in the bottles with the flavoring, you want to cover it up. I like to burp my bottles once a day so they don't explode, because they do have a lot of pressure in those bottles building up from all the yeast and stuff that is fermenting in that bottle. So I like to burp it, just open it, let it breathe. And I let it sit on my counter after flavoring it for about a day, and then I put it in my fridge for about a day, and then I drink it. You can drink it right away, but I like it nice and cold, and the longer you let it sit in the fridge, the more bubbly it's gonna be, and it's just so carbonated, and it's carbonated naturally, so it's really good. I love kombucha. Okay, so I wanted to also leave you guys with a few recipes that we've been loving, like baking recipes, alongside these cozy drinks for fall. So the first one is pumpkin bread. It's very simple, easy to make. I will leave the full recipe down below in the description. It is such a nice way to celebrate fall alongside a cozy coffee drink. It tastes so good. The next one is pumpkin scones, maple pumpkin scones. These are phenomenal, and we have been eating these way more than I would like to admit. They are so good along any drink and just as a snack, as a dessert. They are sweet, but they're not too sweet. And they have a beautiful maple glaze that is just so good and scrumptious. We've just been enjoying these so much, and they're so easy to make. So I will leave that recipe down below as well. Our next recipe is a pumpkin muffin recipe, my kids. The whole family has been loving these. We've been delivering these to friends and family because they are just so good, and we love them. So if you guys want to try this recipe out down below, I will leave all the recipes in the description. And I really hope you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments, did you like this video? Will you try some of the recipes? I would love to know. And yeah, so happy fall, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.